Today, I'm going to be working by my childhood house out here in the White Sands. That's that right there. But today, I'm going to be working on my grandpa's house. And I want to continue this road a bit. So I'm just going to turn this into a highway that went behind my grandpa's house. And this is the front of my childhood house here. And so it was basically there was a road, actual blacktop. See, yeah. Um, but I haven't finished this. I'm going to go ahead and bring this over to the other house. So they were not close by each other. They were in different towns, but I wanted to do both. Once I got this childhood house going here, I said, why not my grandpa's house? So that's what we're going to do today. Okay, chicken, go away. This is pretty much what the house did look like. It was this color. It wasn't stone. It was a wooden, basically an A-frame for my childhood house. Now let me see here. Let's go one more. And I'm gonna try to jump down without dying. Oh, I did it. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to go up one more. So there'd be a little bit of a space from my grandpa's backyard to what I'm just going to call this Highway 20. And that's basically in the Midwest there. It kind of goes through a lot of the states. So it's pretty vague, but yeah, that's where I grew up, was in the Midwest. And I'm going to make some more. Well, it's getting dark anyway, but yeah, I'm going to make a little bit more. Let's see. Let's take that one out. I want to make sure, too, that I really can get across here. Yes, I can. All right, so that means actually I need to put one there. Let's drop this. And this. And this. Right? Yeah. Okay. And that's plenty. If I run across it or I'm on the rails, well, I'll take you inside of my childhood house. The bed is closer. I'm just going to sleep so we have the light. Yeah, all right. I don't have this completely finished, but I can tell you that this was my great grandma's room when she came to stay with us. I was about 16 and a half and then graduated and left. But yeah, she had a bedroom here. She did have a bird. I still don't have a cage made for it. Kind of hard to do, but you know, you just got to improvise when you're in Minecraft. So yeah, all right. Yeah, that should line right up with the grass there. So this is a road, but it's really a walkway, but we're going to pretend like it's Highway 20. And now I'll have an easy way to get up and down between the two. I do need to finish my childhood house there. I want to fix the roof a little bit because it could be a little bit more peaked. I just didn't want to block which you can't see now because Minecraft made some changes on the 1.6. Didn't like those changes. The rendering, not good. And then the smoky, distant, I get it that we have effects and stuff with the atmosphere and everything, but it's not good. So my son messed around a little bit and got it close to what it was, so doesn't have that misty look. And yeah, so we reverted it back. Displeased. So anyway, whoopsie, I didn't need to do that one. Okay, yeah, I'll just put these 9 out. I do need to do a little bit more dirt right here, because this will be the backyard. And it had a field back there. And then after the field was a, and this is going to prompt me to tell you a little story, but this had a cornfield. And that's great, right? Cornfields are nice because it has corn. So we used to sometimes play ball, kind of more or less in this area that I'm standing. Let's see if I can reach this, but I doubt it. And like I said, there was a cornfield kind of more along here. It was before Highway 20, but I want this to be straight. So one day I'm over at my grandpa's where I absolutely love to spend time. Not at home very much, but at my grandpa's, yeah. I did like to be there, actually. And a bunch of us got together. We were playing in this area here. I stepped down. So we were playing out here. So we played softball. And there was a lot of us. Whoever had a glove, and a baseball and some bats were playing. I guess it was softball, actually. And during that time, my dad came down. Weird. He never expressed an interest in sports before, other than football, of course. And I don't know what he's doing, but he's getting in the outfield. I'm in the outfield, and I don't like this. What are you doing? So he just kept messing around, and I just got suspicious. And there was a ball that came, and he decided he was going to get the ball. I don't think he really ever played softball or baseball in his life, but he went into the cornfield with the ball as though he had kicked it or dropped it out of his glove, or I don't even think he had a glove on. I'm like, what are you doing? And he actually was gone in there for just a little bit, which I'm going to get to as to why he was doing this. But yeah. And he came out kind of just grinning, and yeah, he's up to something. I don't know what he's doing. And then after a while, he told me, I think I'll do 2 more rows and we'll call it good for the grass. Then we'll start on his house. But anyway, he told me, well, when the ball comes to you, let the ball go past you and into the cornfield. And when you go into this cornfield, pull off a few ears of corn. I'm looking at him like, what? Well, this isn't Grandpa's corn. And he's like, I know, but just do it. Just get a couple. And I'm sitting there, Spidey senses are tingling. He's up to something for sure now. And so the ball came, kind of by me and went around, and I picked it up. No, let it go into the field, he says after that. Like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm playing softball right now. I don't know why you're here. It's all kids except for you. And then, because there were grave consequences for that disobedience. So, whatever. I'm simply not doing it. It's not ours. I don't have any business going in there. So, I'm not going to pull off some ears of corn and set them down. So, nightfall came. Our game was over. And yeah, all right. So, we're not leaving yet. And we have like at least a 20-minute thing that we need drive that we need to get to get home. And I'm like, what are we doing? And why are we not leaving? So basically, Dad's gone. And I believe it was one of my uncles and my brother. And I'm like, why are we not leaving? I mean, cool. Are we staying overnight? That's fine with me. And, oh no, we'll be leaving after a while. Can't locate my dad. Well, it turns out he'd gone down to the cornfield and had some big gunny sacks, and they were really long, kind of like the army type bags like that, and they were made out of burlap, for those of you who don't know. And anyway, he'd been down there picking corn, apparently. That's kind of the short end of it. And he says, okay, we're ready to go. He comes in with these gunny sacks full of corn, I guess. We didn't really know. But then we went ahead and left. And, it was the next day. We're going to boil up some corn. And that's when it kind of all came to a head. And I'm like, oh, he picked that neighbor of my grandpa's corn. And this is how we pieced it together. And that's where he was after dark, messing around where he didn't need to be messing around. And the story gets a little bit worse because my grandpa found out from a neighbor. Well, he saw him, I guess. And the same guy who owned this. And he went out into his field, small field, not big. And he saw him just throw down his gunny sack because they were going to pick their corn. And that's when my grandpa kind of put two and two together. I figured out what had happened. So it's not just that my dad stole corn. He stole it all. He took all of it. All of it. So, because there wasn't anything. And my grandpa started, because it was just a few days after, like 2 days. And my grandpa started hearing, around town that, his corn was gone. It was stolen. And then he was talking to the neighbor and he found out about it. And my dad had given him a gunny sack. I guess I kind of left that part out. Why not make somebody else a partner in your crime that they know nothing about? And my grandpa felt terrible about it. Figured out that is where the freaking corn came from. And went to the guy with the gunny sack and said, look, I have all this extra corn. I would gladly give you this. And the guy says, well, no, I can't take your corn. Not understanding yet. Well, I don't think he ever did understand that it was actually his corn. And so my grandpa felt like a turd, though he didn't know what was going on. My dad, though, had no problem eating the 2 gunny sacks that we took. And I'm thinking one of my uncles was with him, and I think he got 1 or 2 gunny sacks. So they basically cleaned this guy completely out. And so when I'm telling my son this story, because that's what I like to do with stories, right? He just looked at me, shaking his head, saying, this is just recently, by the way, and he just looked at me, but you're in Iowa, there's corn everywhere. I'm like, yeah, actually, there is. So it was just about the dumbest thing that you could do. It's not like you're on a deserted island and there's no freaking corn around that you could ever eat again. No, there's corn. Oh, there's definitely corn. And I thought, yeah, that's kind of true because we're in the Midwest in a major state of agriculture. So there was no shortage of corn, but it was just dirty, really, really dirty. And yeah, so as a kid, you kind of start to piece this together. And it was years later when my grandpa started telling me this story, and I just said, yeah, I really thought that was weird that we were staying there so late and after dark and everything, and something was up, and it just couldn't figure it out. And, he didn't blame us though, surprisingly, like because he knew we were kids, and I think one of my brothers helped him get more corn that night. But yeah, so yeah, it's just the rednecky stuff. Even rednecks don't steal though. My dad wasn't really a redneck. He was kind of a redneck snob, really. Yeah, let's get started on the house. Do I want to bring the house up one? And I should know this before I really do get started. Well, we're going to do the outside regardless. So the house, there was a little bit of a side yard on both sides, so I won't go all the way. There was a garage. It was, really old. And he had a garden as my aunts and uncles were growing up. That's what he fed them on, same as us. And I remember a little bit, like he had some sweet potatoes growing. I'm going to have to widen this. So I'm going to do this a little bit right now because I want to get some of this grass growing. Yeah, we're going to have to widen it a little. It's not going to quite work because I need room to build. And there's some pine trees also. And this here does not need to be there, but I guess I'll keep it for now. But yeah, it was just one of those really turdy things that he did. And of course, there's my poor grandpa. He's neighbors and knows this guy and likes him and would have gone to church with him and all these things. And yeah, it wasn't like grandpa was accusing me or anything, but just like, yeah, we smelled something in the air. Something was definitely up. So I think we'll make the side of the house. And the thing is I can't make it to scale, right? I gotta have room for the rooms. And so I gotta kind of have enough inside room just to build. But actually, come and think of it, we had a porch. He had a porch. I call it we because honestly, when I think of my childhood, I pretty much think of my grandpa's house. I did spend time there whenever I could, and it was nice. I had friends there. Also, before my great grandma, which I mentioned a little bit ago, came to live with us, she lived in the same town. Is that correct? Yeah. She lived in the same town, so I would go there, and it was really nice just to be there. So let's see here. Let's try and, yeah, let's just bring this out a bit. But yeah, it was just a pleasant, screwed up the dirt again, pleasant town to be in. And my grandpa was just a really good guy. And I miss him to pieces to this day, so. But I felt like in Minecraft, I was ready to start, you know, building this stuff. It's painful for me to have let him go. He's been gone for about 15 years. I miss him every day, but and my great grandma, she was awesome too. She was his mother-in-law, and in the house that I'm building, she owned it, and so I got to hear some stories there. After a while, they paid rent. She moved out and got remarried and stuff, and so she took rent payments. I'm sure were pretty dirt cheap. And then one day she informed him that he'd paid enough rent and the house was now his. So she turned it over to him in like, the traditional sell it to him for $1 type way that they did things back then. It's when it's just a formality of a sale. It's not really, yeah. But so I thought there was some cool things there. I just kind of wanted to share that about my great grandma. But yeah, she had a little bird in the room that we were in. She just got to be where she couldn't really get around too much anymore. And I believe she lived with us for about 1.5 years before she passed away. But she was absolutely no trouble, quiet as a mouse, respectful. She was a wonderful woman, and I really miss her. But maybe I'll make her house sometime. I remember a lot of it, but I was the oldest granddaughter. Yeah, we're going to let this grass grow over here. And so I need a little bit of room here. There was actually a swing set and that. So, well, I'm going to get the floor in. And see, in here, go in, there was a porch. I might have to do the porch separately. I brought this jungle. I think, yeah, let me get a little bit of sand though, in case I need it to build off of. But there was just a little square porch. And then the kind of door that's on the bottom that you lift up and go down. So I might put a couple trap doors there. Let's see. Yeah, I think on this, we're gonna have this jut out a little bit. I'm gonna put actually a door needs to go there, so I guess I need to keep this one. But let me just get a little bit of the back porch. I want to get some floor in. It was kind of long. Actually, it did run the length of this, but we're not gonna make it 2 stories or anything. But I just want to get a start on this. And we'll take a little bit more of this out. And I'm just going to leave it because I'm not sure how big I want to make it. It just had some stuff stored. That's it. Nothing really too fancy. I think I can sneak in right here. Yeah, all right. And then on this side, I would need a few planks. We'll do like 3. It was off-centered a little bit. It was a 2-story house, though. Well, whose wasn't in Iowa, anyway, in the Midwest. So, yeah, let's do, I guess we'll start this up. I'm going to start with this as the floor then. And it was long and narrow, I remember that. But I do want to get a few things in, so I suppose this house is going to end up to be humongous. This, with the wall, that only gives me 3. Let me get one more anyway. You know, it didn't have furniture in it, but just storage stuff. Wherever stuff was, you know, that they were working on. So, oh, I don't need this right now. Like a sewing machine, perhaps. And my grandpa was pretty good with tools, so he had different saws out there and things like that. So, all right, well, let me sleep. Yeah, I do like the new clouds that Minecraft put in, and the sunset does look different. It's cool, but you cannot even see my hanging garden of Not Babylon over there. So I'm not feeling this. You know, I guess for my videos, it'll be okay, but, you know, exploring is going to be a problem. Yeah, we're going to leave that alone. And I'll put in some trapdoors. Now, after we got to the porch, this was actually part of the bedroom. So, let me see what I want to kind of make that out of. Some stuff was wooden, some wooden floor, but mostly it was either linoleum or like a thinner carpet. And I have a lot of wool with me, so maybe I'd use that. Now the linoleum, I do need to polish this. Let me get a stack of that. Where am I going? Okay, so we want it polished. Yeah, don't know about stairs. So yeah, let's do a stack. All right. So I guess we'll work on the right first. And I'm hoping that this video doesn't get to be too long. Let's see. I'm going to put, I think, I'm going to do brown wool for the floor for the bedroom. And they had so many people living in the house before I was born, you know. And that they put an addition, and this room here was a small addition. And they had one guy living, basically, it was just there. The kitchen, of course, was in between it, but that's what they did. There was upstairs, so like my grandpa and his children at the time, I think were downstairs, but my great grandma then was upstairs. And that's kind of what you had to do then. Great Depression, trying to recover from that, not great, not a good time. So now, straight from right here would be the wall. I'm just gonna step over here. We're just gonna put a makeshift wall. But come in through here was a straight shot. And I remember the kitchen table was always over in this area. So what I'm gonna do is start with the linoleum. I remember there were two different colors, but I'm going to use this because it's actually about the color. And then off to the left, there was a dining room and the living room. It wasn't, I mean, it was huge in a way, but, it was partitioned off a lot. And that's for the sake of the people who were also living there, a little bit of privacy. But yeah, they just kind of lived on top of each other. But we're going to go straight. We're just going to do the right half. And I don't want to make this video too long. Kind of afraid I might be heading in that direction, though. I worked on quite a bit of this beforehand and trained the grass to go all the way up. Let's do one more row. And I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's going to be a wall. So let's go out some more. This isn't quite long enough. There's also going to be a kitchen off to here. It's going to get dark again. Or is it raining? It's raining. Yeah, I'm glad I have about like 3 stacks of this. But we're just going to pretend like it's linoleum. It wasn't tile. Yeah, I should really put that last thing of dirt on, but I'm kind of out of it, so I have a tiny bit before I fall through there. I know I will. Well, I have some grass, but let's get another one of these. Yeah. Okay. And let's do, yeah, we're going to continue with the polished. Wow. Yeah. Big changes here. Big changes with Minecraft since last week. Last time I recorded was exactly a week ago. So, and it was normal then. And then the next day, yeah, not normal. So, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do about it, but I did want to continue my channel. So, we're going to kind of work with it at least for today. And not too happy. Yeah, we'll just get the floors in because that's going to make it easier to work with the walls. And the roof I'm not even considering doing today. So we had coming in, yeah, right over here. This is where we would have had a table to the left. I just need enough room to put in a table. So maybe I might do just like a couple more. Just want to make sure I have enough room to build stuff. And then over here was sort of the division between this and the dining room. But what was really cool is even up until the day my grandpa died, he had still his stove. Now, it was converted from coal to, I don't know if it was propane or liquid propane. The LPS, I don't know. That's all I have. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess we're good. So I'm going to grab those real quick. I have them sitting right here. But I wanted to put 2 so that it's a little bit wider. All right, where's the other Okay, I have one more stack there. We're just going to polish all of this, I think. And even if I decide I want to make stairs out of it, you know what? Yeah, let's just do all of it. I'm going to have to go wandering to get some more, but that's okay. I won't do it today, so. But yeah, so right around here, do I want it 3? This is the center. Yeah, and then a wall. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put in this, and it was pretty much close to it. So I think we'll do here. I'm going to go back to back. So this was we sit on it and then tell on each other for sitting on it. But yeah, so it was about this wide, and you just sat on it. And you can see the little flame. Actually, you know what? Would probably look better to point it this way. So we're going to do that. But you can see the little flames coming through. And it was gas of some sort, or liquid LPS, whatever. And you could see it, and you could adjust it. But yeah, that is basically what he heated. So my uncles, when I got older, decided, Grandpa, Dad, you need to put in a real heater. I mean, we're talking about sub-zero temperatures and stuff. So he put in a little gas furnace. It didn't really have any piping or anything that went to it, but it was in the living room. And then, so he had both these things. But he still would cheat and only run this unless people came over. Then he returned the heat up for us. But yeah, he just lived cold. I don't know why. But yeah, so now we're going to be going, let's see, the kitchen. Yeah, oh, we had a little bathroom right around here. There was a little bathroom. Yeah, so the kitchen's going to kind of go off to the right a little. And, it was back to back where it had sink on one side, a stove on the other. So, yeah, there was a little garage. But I think we're going to, if I do it, put a garage, I'll probably just set it on this plateau here. We'll see. So, but yeah, I think for today, I'm going to stop here and pick this up again in another video because I don't want to get too long, and I have to gather some more stuff. I need some more brown wool. I have it. It's just I have to go get it. So, but I'm going to leave you with a new version of the sunset from Minecraft 1.21.6. Feast your eyes. Until next time, take care.